This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. President Trump's nominee to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, Eric Miller, was confirmed by the Senate Tuesday by a vote of 53 to 46. Democrats who oppose the nomination include senators from states representing tribes in Minnesota, New Mexico, and the nominee's home state of Washington, concerned about his record challenging tribal issues. New Mexico Senator Tom Udall, who's vice chair of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, spoke on the Senate floor against the nomination, saying Miller has a troubling record on Indian law. Udall pointed to his work as a private practice attorney advocating against sovereignty, native religious practices, federal recognition, and other tribal issues.
Mr. Miller's repeated willingness to side against tribes, Native American tribes, in court, and the likelihood that such willingness will follow him to the bench, where he would have an outsized influence on the development of Indian law for decades. This concerns me deeply. As vice chair of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, I pay special attention to a nominee's record on tribal issues, especially if a nominee will preside in a jurisdiction that has 427 tribal nations, as is the case with Mr. Miller. I am concerned that Mr. Miller's record has not shown and does not have the proper respect for tribal sovereignty.
During a Senate committee hearing in October, Miller defended his knowledge of federal Indian law. When asked about opposition to his nomination over tribal issues, he said as an attorney he was an advocate for clients, but as a judge he said his role would be different.
Were I to become a judge, my job would be to not advocate for either side, but to neutrally apply the law, and in particular to apply the principles that tribes are independent sovereigns, that treaties with tribes must be respected and must be understood as the tribes would have understood them. And those are principles that, sadly, were not always honored throughout our history, but they're important principles that the Supreme Court has emphasized and that I would apply if I were to become a judge.
National Native groups, including the National Congress of American Indians and the Native American Rights Fund, opposed the nomination. Democrats expressed concern over his confirmation hearing, which was held during a Senate recess. 2 Republicans questioned Miller. No Democrats were present. Republican leader Mitch McConnell called Miller an impressive nominee who has a distinguished record in both public service and private practice. Wisconsin's Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes met with tribal leaders Tuesday in Hayward. The community welcomed him at Le Coudray Community College. The lieutenant governor shared tribal initiatives ahead of the governor's upcoming budget address. The budget proposal includes funding for tribal higher education, youth wellness, and family services, local news outlets report. The governor's office and tribal leaders say they're committed to working together on tribal issues. Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Police seized more than 140 pounds of marijuana and arrested 2 people this week during a traffic stop near Eagle Butte, South Dakota. During the stop, a canine was deployed and alerted officers to a cargo area in a vehicle where officers found and removed large amounts of the drug, which were hidden inside. According to the tribe, law enforcement placed the individuals in the custody of county officers and turned over the confiscated items to federal authorities. Bison from Yellowstone National Park were recently transferred to the Fort Peck Reservation in Montana, the Bozeman Daily Chronicle reports. It's part of an effort to increase buffalo outside of the park. The 5 animals will reportedly be quarantined for the next year to make sure they're disease-free. I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Koahnic Broadcast Corporation, with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
My day one.
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 Day one. Telling inspiring stories of alcohol recovery. Recovery works. Hope starts here. Go to recoveralaska.org to learn more.
Support by BNSF Railway, moving our economy for over 165 years. Our vision is to operate injury and accident-free with safety programs, training, and technology. More at bnsf.com/tribal relations.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.